Did I feel like I had any worth? No. Because if I did, I would have fought harder to come out of this. And I tried. I talked to some people and I couldn't shake it. So worth would be no. I didn't have any. It wasn't about that anymore. It wasn't about, did I feel good about myself? It was just about, it's going to end, and that's it. The sadness was darkness for me. And like, I felt like I crawled up into a corner and it was just, I was in pitch dark the whole time. And that's when I got the tunnel vision that I couldn't handle it any longer. All the problems that were making it build up to where I just had that one trigger in my head that said, this is what you have to do. I ended up living, which was something that I wanted to do after I realized what a stupid, selfish move that was. I lost my children, I lost my apartment. I was in a facility for a while to get my meds on right, and then my sister came up with all these false accusations against me that I was a heroin user and all kinds of just bad stuff that she convinced my mom is what I was, and she convinced my father, which didn't live there. Less than a month out of being out of the hospital, they kicked me out. And going from suicide to homelessness was devastating. Like, devastating. And I didn't know what to do. So I called the guy I met in the hospital that is my boyfriend today. And he was using, and his family kicked him out. So we were both homeless. And somehow he had enough money, and we ended up staying here at the motel. I remember them knocking on the door one Sunday morning that we happened to be here. And I don't remember what they said, so I think I poked my head out and I said, is that food you said is here? And they said, yeah, food and church. And I'm like, wow, okay. So I went back and I said, dude, there's food. And he's all like, I know we don't have money for food, so let's go down and get some food. So we ate, and it was good because they fed us good. But what was different was that before we even entered, we were greeted with hugs. How are you? Sit down, we'll serve you. Heather, wow. How can you not notice Heather? She's like a ball of energy, a ball of love, a ball of happiness.
Before I came to Motel Church, I was very nervous. I didn't know who I would be meeting or what type of people would be there. And the only reason I really felt comfortable doing it is because they put me in charge of the kids, which is my happy place, knowing that I was just going to have to hang out with the kids and, not really talk with the adults too much. My struggle with wanting to go to Motel Church versus not go to Motel Church was just lack of time. Just being a busy realtor, busy in my life. I agreed to go, but only one time. It was just going to be that one time. As we were cleaning up and walking away, this little boy ran up to me and he looked up to me and he goes, "Are you coming back next week?" And in that moment, my heart broke. And how do you say no? How do you say no to a little kid that asks you if you're coming back next week? And I said yes. And I came back, and I've come back ever since then. So it's just a normal Sunday morning. We're driving to Motel Church, and I get a call, pick it up, and I'm told that the speaker that's scheduled to speak at our church is sick, and that I have to give my testimony. At that moment, I started laughing because the night before, I had been fighting with God about giving my testimony and that I didn't want to do it. But I went to bed thinking about what I would say.
The first time I heard Heather speak was we were eating, and then I was listening to her talk.
I could see a hardness to her. I saw very defensive, like the world was against her. And I also saw a very sad person that really just needed someone to reach out to her.
Where I came from, I was in pure darkness. Like I was willing to give it a shot. And afterwards I came to the conclusion that I had hope. And I had hope because it's like I had sunglasses on and somebody had poked a hole in them and I was able to see out of it now, just a little bit. But that was a little bit, just a little bit, which was more than what I had before.
When I get done, she immediately asked me a very poignant question, which I didn't really have the answer for. And that's really what started our relationship. As I sat down with her and I said, I don't know the exact answer, but can I pray with you? And that's where our relationship really started.
It made me want to come back and get more and more and more.
I started to notice that if I just showed up, I didn't need to be anything. I didn't need to be energetic. I didn't need to have a whole thing planned. I just needed to show up and God would work through me. It's really that simple.
Each time I came, it was like more of the darkness was going away. It's like those holes in the glasses were coming off and they're just peeling the tint off, and I was able to see until one day it was clear and I no longer had any hesitation, no darkness.
So I never thought that 2 hours a week would have such a huge impact on my life or the lives of others. We've seen people that were out of work for months have jobs, move out of the motel, reconnect with their family, reconcile, get off drugs. It's almost overwhelming to think of the amount of impact you have just in those 2 hours a week.
Today we had baptisms, and to see the renewed energy in their hearts is overwhelming.
Baptism to me was always just kind of ceremonial, not so much as a life-changing effect or an altered being, but more ceremonial. I believe in Christ, so this is the next step. But what I've seen from motel baptisms is it's truly a changed life. As they go down into the water and come back up, it's such a relief, I think, to know you have a family, you're born into a new family, you have a new life.
I invited, which I thought were my arch enemies, were my mom and my sister, to come and watch me be baptized. And it scared me to death. So when I got baptized, I told Heather, I'm focusing on the wrong things. Can you just help me? So she prayed over me. And I remember that when I went to get baptized, that the moment that I came up out of the water, I knew that having them there would have been the best thing for me, and it was, because I was able to forgive them for their wrongdoings of how they treated me. And having them there meant something, that I was able to overcome and let go of all of that when I came back out of the water. It just purified me is what I thought. I was forgiven to the deepest extent that I could be. And that was the moment I realized that I was worthy. I was a child of God.
Being part of Julia's life has really shown me a true purpose in my life. And being able to walk alongside her has given me so much more passion for what I do.